And Kim Jones will join us in the future here, but right now we're going to talk about what's going on the field this afternoon, Jack. You know, last night we had that great comeback victory by the Yankees, and I know a lot of the Yankees, the former Yankees, want to talk about Mr. Steinbrenner today.
Absolutely, Kenny. As you said, this is always a special day, but there's even more emotion attached to it. You couldn't walk 5 feet on the field without hearing another George Steinbrenner story, and all of the former players paying their respects by telling their stories about George Steinbrenner. One thing I witnessed in the dugout, too, that I thought was really neat, Mariano Rivera coming out in his civilian clothes to sign autographs for the Old Timers.
Now, you and I have both seen a lot of Yankee baseball. What does Yankee baseball and that Old Timers Day mean to you?
It just absolutely means that the team with the best franchise in baseball history is out there bringing as many of their old timers back. It's just a show that no other team, Kenny, can put on.
That is very, very true. A lot of championships here with the Yankees, 27 to be exact. And right now we're going to start our very special Old Timers Day special. Now we go to our on-field ceremonies.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Old Timers Day. Please direct your attention now to the microphone behind home plate and join the Yankees in welcoming our two MCs. WCBS radio announcer John Sterling and Yes Network broadcaster Michael Kay.
Well, what a way to start the day. Welcome to the Yankees' 64th annual Old Timers Day celebration. This has been a very difficult week for the Yankees family off the field as they lost two living legends who were both synonymous with everything that is the New York Yankees. But today, as we remember both the voice of Yankee Stadium, Bob Shepard, and the principal owner of the Yankees, the boss, George M. Steinbrenner III, we'll also celebrate the wondrous history of the New York Yankees. Today, we're happy to welcome home world champions, all-stars, and even a few Hall of Famers. At this time, I would like to direct your attention to the flagpole out beyond the left field wall. This year, we have the 1950 World Championship flag flying beneath the American flag as we honor the 60th anniversary of the 1950 team. We're pleased that 7 members of that team are here with us today, and when they're introduced, they'll be wearing 1950 replica uniforms.
And fans, as we honor the 1950 team today, just think that there are another 26 Yankees World Championship teams, including the 2009 team that has the Yankees as the reigning world champions. Today was one of George Steinbrenner's favorite days of the year. He was so proud of the tradition of the Yankees and loved seeing all these great Yankees gathered in one spot. In his 37 years of owning the Yankees, they won 16 division titles, 11 American League pennants, and 7 world championships. Now, before we relive the past and look forward to the future of Yankees baseball, let us take a moment to remember a gentleman who lent his voice to many old-timers days over the year, Bob Shepard. At this time, please direct your attention to the Diamond Vision screen in center field for a special video tribute to the voice of Yankee Stadium, Mr. Bob Shepard.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
He's been there forever, announced a lot of great players, and He's kind of a mainstay there. You know, when you think about Yankee Stadium, you think about Bob Shepard.
If you ever had the chance to speak to God, it would probably be his voice.
Here are the lineups. Leading off, the shortstop, number 10, Phil Rizzuto, number 10.
Now batting, number 2,
Derek Jeter.
When you think of Yankee Stadium, that's one of the first things that come to mind is listening to Bob Shepard.
Batting second, the catcher, number 15, Thurman Munson, number 15. Playing right field, number 7, Mickey Mantle, number 7. And I introduced him on Good Morning America maybe a month or two before he died. And he said to his interviewer, every time I hear that, I get shivers up my back. The center fielder, number 5, Joe DiMaggio, number 5.
The stadium is not the same without his, his voice.
Batting fifth, the left fielder, number 8, Yogi Berra, number 8. Playing first base, number 23, Don Mattingly, number 23.
There was nothing better than putting on that pinstripe uniform and taking your place in the on-deck circle, going up to that bat, and him just announcing your name every time you went up there. It just made it feel like it was something special is always happening when you hear his voice.
The designated hitter, number 44, Reggie Jackson, number 44.
Bob Shepard is, just part of the lore of the stadium. He's part of the dignity of the Yankees with the voice and his presence. I would just like to say thank you to Bob Shepard for just being Bob Shepard.
Batting 8th, the third baseman, number 9, Greg Nettles, number 9.
For me, being able to play kind of under his watch is like an angel, is a Yankee angel, and I'm honored.
Batting 9th, the second baseman, number 1, Billy Martin, number 1.
You can always remember back where you were when you heard certain events and Bob's voice was there crystal clear. As a player, going to Yankee Stadium, it wouldn't seem right or it wouldn't be the same without Bob's golden pipes.
And pitching, number 16, Whitey Ford, number 16.
He just had that great way of talking. And when he said Whitey Ford, it put a chill through me.
Certainly Bob Shepard should be in the Hall of Fame. That's probably the highest compliment I can give him, because when you think of the New York Yankees and Yankee Stadium and hear that voice, it is probably one of the most memorable experiences you could ever have.
Bob Shepard is one of the building blocks of this franchise. The biggest thrill for players in the game is to have Bob Shepard announce their name at Yankee Stadium. Not just putting their first Major League uniform on, not their first at-bat or their first pitch. It's when Bob Shepard announces you at Yankee Stadium, you have in fact arrived.
I don't believe in flamboyance. I don't believe in being cute or comical or clairvoyant or anything else. Clear, concise, correct.
He's going to be missed, dearly missed. But he was a wonderful man.
He means as much to this organization as any player. As long as I'm playing, Bob Shepard always announced me.
I took an hour to look at a flower and a day to examine a shell. A week went by while I watched the sky. Oh, time has treated me well.
Well, what a great video. But now, I bet both Bob and George would want to hear all about the wonderful guests we have here today. Our first guest was used to being first. He was the first overall pick in the 1967 amateur draft. And on April 6, 1973, he became the first ever designated hitter in Major League history. He'd spent 6 seasons with the Yankees. Welcome back, the Boomer, Ron Blomberg.
This native of Brooklyn has been with the Yankees in just about every capacity. He was a Yankee infielder during the 1982 season. He later became a manager in the minor league system from 1997 through 1999. He was the Yankees' first base coach on their 2000 World Championship team and would spend 4 more seasons as a Yankee coach. Fans, let's welcome Lee Mazzilli.
This slick-fielding second baseman spent 7 seasons in pinstripes, and his defense up the middle was outstanding. In 1993, he led the team in stolen bases. Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Kelly.
Our next guest is a local product out of Seton Hall University, and he spent 18 years in the big leagues, 7 with the Yankees. In his first full season with the Yankees behind the plate, he would hit 14 home runs and drive in 85 runs for the 1980 division champions. After he retired, he went on to be a television and radio broadcaster. Please welcome back, Rick Cerrone.
This old-timer pitched 5 seasons for the Yanks in the late 80s and early 90s. He helped them reach the postseason in 1995. Now he's in his 3rd season as the Yankees pitching coach with one of the best staffs in the league. Let's welcome Dave Island.
This next guest was acquired during the 1989 season from the Toronto Blue Jays. During his 4 years in pinstripes, he led the team in home runs in 1990. And boy, did he have a rifle for an arm. He had an outstanding 45 outfield assists while playing in the Bronx. Let's welcome back Jesse Barfield.
This former Yankee was the designated hitter on the 1986 Yankees. He was 2nd on the team with a .302 batting average, 3rd with 78 runs batted in, while hitting 14 home runs. Let's welcome back the hitman, Mike Easler.
This old-timer was drafted by the Yankees in the 6th round of the 1974 draft. He made the team in 1979 and was the Yankees' backstop for the last 2 months of the season, and would go on to play for 8 years in the majors before managing for another 5 seasons. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Jerry Narron.
Here's a guy who had 2 stints in the Bronx in the late 70s and early 80s and was a part of the 1976 and 1981 American League Championship teams. In the 1981 Divisional Series, he hit .600 with 2 home runs and 2 doubles as he helped propel the Yankees to the American League Championship Series. In all, he hit .302 in the 6 postseason series he appeared in for the Yankees. His stroke was perfect for Yankee Stadium. And who could forget that hairdo? Here's Oscar Gamble.
This player had 2 tours in pinstripes, playing for the Yankees in 1997 and 1998, and then coming back to the team during the 2004 season. He was a fan favorite and always seemed to provide a spark off the bench with his speed. He also batted .348 during his time in the Bronx. Let's welcome back Homer Bush.
This next guest spent 3 seasons as a Bronx Bomber from 1978 to 1980. Who can forget the 1978 series when he had 3 hits in both Game 5 and the deciding Game 6? He would bat .438 with 7 hits and 2 RBIs for the World Series. Say hello to Brian Doyle.
We now welcome back a pitcher who was a key contributor to the Yankees winning the American League East in 2005. He was called up from the minors in the middle of the season, and all he did was win 10 games. Oh, and by the way, he didn't lose a single game either. We're very happy to have him here with us today. Let's hear it for Aaron Small.
This next righty pitched in the majors for 18 years and came to the Yankees in an early season trade from Oakland in 1977. He would win 14 games during the 1977 season with a career-high 17 complete games. He helped the Yankees win the '77 World Championship by hurling another 2 complete game victories in the World Series, including the series clincher in Game 6. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Torres.
This first baseman came over in a trade from Cleveland in 1974, and he was in the heart of the '77 and '78 lineup, and would play a total of 6 seasons with the Yankees, and he hit one of the most memorable home runs in Yankees history. It was October 14th, 1976, and the Yankees hadn't been to the World Series since 1964. The score was tied at 6 when he led off the bottom of the 9th inning. There wouldn't be a need for anyone else to come up after him, as his home run put the Yankees back in the World Series. Let's hear it for Chris Chambliss.
This 3-time All-Star was traded to the Yankees from the Chicago White Sox at the very beginning of the 1977 season. He'd be the starting shortstop for the next 6 seasons. The Yankees' rich history is full of memorable home runs. But on October 2nd, 1978, he hit one of the biggest home runs in Yankees history. His 3-run home run over the Green Monster at Fenway Park etched his name in Yankees lore forever, as it helped give the Yankees the Eastern Division title. He would then go on to hit .417 in the 1978 World Series, en route to be naming World Series MVP. How about a big hand for Bucky Dent?
This lefty was a young 20-year-old when the Yankees called him up to the big leagues in 1961. In 1963, he led the American League with most strikeouts per 9 innings and fewest hits allowed per 9 innings. His 217 strikeouts in 1964 were tops in the American League. In 9 seasons with the Yankees, he pitched in 2 World Series and made the 1967 All-Star team. How about a hand for Al Downing?
When this Yankee came over in a trade from Kansas City in 1959, he had been a second and third baseman. He was soon converted into an outfielder and played there from 1959 through 1966. He played in 5 World Series, and in the 1961 World Series sweep, he drove in 7 runs and batted .333. He helped give the Yankees tremendous depth in the outfield. Welcome back, Hector Lopez.
This slick fielding second baseman came up to the Yankees in 1965, and he would spend 9 seasons playing for them. One of the best fielding second basemen of the time, he consistently was at the top of the league in most putouts and assists by a second baseman. And in 1967, he led the league in fielding percentage at his position. His speed was also a huge asset to the Yankees, as he led them in stolen bases in 4 different seasons and twice led the American League in singles. Here he is, a native of St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands, Horace Clarke.
Our next honored guest is the only person to serve the Yankees as player, scout, coach, manager, and general manager. He played shortstop for 7 seasons with the Yankees. As a front office executive, he helped mold the recent outstanding Yankee teams. Currently, he's the Yankees senior vice president and special advisor. You know him, the Stick, Gene Michael.
This Brooklyn native is one of the more charismatic individuals in the game of baseball. He was the Bronx Bombers' first baseman from 1962 to 1969, and he led the Yankees in RBIs 3 times and won 3 Gold Glove awards. On May 23, 1962, in just the 17th game of his young career, he hit 2 home runs in the same inning, becoming just the second Yankee in history to accomplish this feat. He would go on to play in 2 fall classics, and in Game 6 in the 1964 series, he cracked a grand slam to lead the Yankees to an 8-3 win over the St. Louis Cardinals. Here he is, Joe Pepitone.
He played third base for the Yankees in 1992, but they lost him in the 1992 expansion draft to the Colorado Rockies. They reacquired him in August 1996, just in time to get him on the postseason roster. After the Yankees dropped the opening game of the 1996 Division Series, Game 2 grew in importance. And with the score tied in the bottom of the 12th inning and Derek Jeter on second base, he dropped down a bunt that the Rangers threw away, allowing the winning run to score. The Yankees would then win the next 2 games in Texas and advance to the championship series. In Game 6 of the World Series, with 2 outs in the top of the 9th, he clutched a foul pop that began a wild celebration in the Bronx as the Yankees captured the 1996 World Championship. Let's hear it for Charlie Hayes.
This left fielder spent his entire 15-year career playing left field in Yankee Stadium, and he ranked 7th in team history for games played with the Yankees. During this period, he is one of the American League's best switch hitters. He was a member of the 1977 and 1978 World Championship teams and made the All-Star team twice. He was a durable player as he twice played all 162 games of the season. And in 1973, he led the American League in plate appearances and at bats. A soft-spoken, dignified leader, Roy White.
The next guy was known for his speed. In fact, he was probably the fastest man ever to play for the Yankees. In 1976, he was selected to the All-Star team as they led the Yanks in stolen bases and also led them with a .312 batting average. During the 1977 championship campaign, he also stole a team-high 22 bases while hitting 12 home runs, driving in 69 runs, and once again leading the Yankees in hitting with a .326 batting average. In the deciding Game 5 of the American League Championship Series, he came to the plate in the top of the ninth with 2 runners on and the Yankees trailing 3-2. His base hit tied the score. He eventually crossed the plate with the game's final run as the Yankees advanced to the World Series. He also led the Yankees attack in Game 3 of the World Series with 3 hits and was the center fielder on the 1978 World Championship team. Please welcome Mick the Quick Mickey Rivers.
Let's welcome back a special guest to his first Old Timers Day. He came over to the Yankees in a trade deadline deal in 1996 from the Tigers. In the last 2 months of the season, he would hit 13 home runs for the Bombers and help lead them to the first division title since 1981. In the American League Division Series and the American League Championship Series, he combined to hit 3 home runs and drive in 12 runs to help propel the Yankees back to the World Series. And in the 1996 World Series, he batted .391 and drove in the only run in the pivotal 1-0 victory in Game 5. Let's welcome back Cecil Fielder.
Our next member of the Yankees family was the ace of the pitching staff for 11 seasons and was named to the American League All-Star team 5 times. He was called up late in 1964 and immediately made an impact, going 9-3 and helping the Yankees win the American League pennant. He led the Yankees in wins in 7 of his 11 big league seasons. In 1965, he led the American League with 18 complete games and 291 innings pitched. In 1969, he once again led the American League with 24 complete games as he pitched 303 innings. He would win 164 games over his 11-year career. He rejoined the Yankees prior to the 1996 season as their pitching coach, and from the bench, he helped guide the pitching staff of 4 World Championship teams. Ladies and gentlemen, Mel Stottlemyre.
This catcher was traded to the Yankees before the 1996 season, and he was an integral part to the last Yankees dynasty with his defense behind the plate and his leadership on and off the field. He played 4 seasons with the Yankees, winning 3 World Championships and catching 1 perfect game. Who can forget him motoring around the bases with his 3rd inning triple in Game 6 of the 1996 World Series, giving the Yankees a lead they would never relinquish as they won their first World Series title in 18 years. He went from the Yankees on-field leader to becoming their leader in the dugout. And last season, he led them to their 27th World Championship. Here he is, the manager of the Yankees, Joe Girardi.
Thank you. This Yankee was a key member of 4 World Championship teams as he was a 2-time All-Star while in the Bronx. And in 1998, he led the American League with 20 wins. His 6 years in pinstripes were full of huge moments as he was 6-1 in the postseason. Everyone remembers the comeback in Game 4 of the 1996 World Series, but it was his gutsy performance in Game 3 that got the Yankees back in the series. Well, you mentioned how Joe Girardi caught a perfect game. Well, this is the pitcher who threw it 11 years ago tomorrow, July 18th, 1999. Let's have a warm welcome for Coney David Coe.
This old-timer was originally scheduled to be here, but at the last minute, was unable to make it here today. He spent 4 seasons in the Yankees bullpen, and he compiled a 22-10 record. His best season was 1961 when he went 15-5 with a 2.19 ERA, and he led the American League with 29 saves as he earned a spot on the American League All-Star team. Even though he couldn't make it today, let's have a hand for Luis Arroyo.
This right-hand pitcher came up with the Yankees in 1956 before being traded away in 1957 and then reacquired in 1959. He would appear in 4 World Series with the Yankees and would pitch on 2 World Championship teams. After going 16-3 in 1961, he would follow it up with his best season in pinstripes in 1962. That season, he was named to both All-Star games, led the league with 23 wins, and was named the 1962 World Series Most Valuable Player after pitching 2 complete game victories, including a 4-hit complete game shutout in Game 7 when the Yankees won 1-0. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Ralph Terry.
This right-handed pitcher came to the Yankees in a trade from the Baltimore Orioles in 1954, and he played with the Bronx Bombers until 1962. He pitched in 2 All-Star games, 5 Fall Classics, and he won 4 games in World Series play while playing for the Yankees. 3 times he gave up the fewest hits per 9 innings in the league, and in 1957, he had the most strikeouts per 9 innings in the league. He led American League pitchers in complete games and wins in 1958 en route to both the Cy Young Award and World Series MVP honors. Here's Bullet Bob, Bob Turley.
This next old-timer spent 5 years as a Yankee and pitched in 4 Fall Classics. In World Series play, he won 3 games and had a 2.67 ERA. On October 8th, 1956, he turned in one of the greatest pitching performances in the history of the game as he pitched a perfect game in Game 5 of the World Series versus the Brooklyn Dodgers. Still, the only perfect game ever pitched in the World Series. Ladies and gentlemen, Don Larson.
This next old-timer was a big, muscular player who was a staple in the Yankees infield in the late 1950s and early 1960s. He had more than 20 home runs in 4 of his 9 seasons with the Bronx Bombers. In 1961, he was part of the trio, along with Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris, that hit a total of 143 home runs. He made the All-Star team 6 times in his 14-year career. He was a member of 4 World Championship teams, hitting 7 home runs in World Series play for the Yankees. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Moose Skowron.
This popular player had a long career with the Yanks, first leading the American League in home runs in 1976. He was a key member of the 77 and 78 World Championship teams. During the 1977 season, he smashed 37 home runs, collected 107 RBIs, both records at the time for Yankees third baseman, while also playing stellar defense and being awarded his first Gold Glove. He made the All-Star team 7 times while wearing pinstripes and was named the most valuable player of the 1981 American League Championship Series as he batted .500 in the series. The Yankees have had a lot of great third basemen over the years, and he ranks up there as one of the best. Let's welcome back Greg Nettles.
This left-hander spent his entire 14-year career as a Yankee, from 1975 to 1988. He tied for the team lead in 1977 with 16 victories while winning 2 games in the postseason, including a 4-hitter in Game 4 of the World Series. In 1978, he had one of the greatest seasons in the history of Major League Baseball, when he would win the Cy Young Award with a 25-3 record and a minuscule 1.74 ERA. He also holds the franchise record for strikeouts in a single game with 18 against the Angels on June 17, 1978. He twice led the league in wins and twice in earned run average. He is second on the Yankees all-time strikeout list and in the top 10 of almost every franchise pitching category. Ladies and gentlemen, Louisiana Lightning, Ron Guidry.
This next Yankee was one of the most intimidating and overpowering relievers in the late 70s and early 80s. He had an explosive fastball that ranged between 90 and 100 miles an hour. He's third on the Yankees all-time saves list with 151, twice leading the league in saves while playing for the Yanks. He was named to 4 All-Star teams during his time in pinstripes. He had a career ERA with the Yankees of 2.14, and most of his saves were from multiple innings. In 2008, he was inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Let's say hello to the Goose Gossett.
Next up is a legend of Cooperstown, who thrived when it meant the most. He was at his best in October, and in his 5 years with the Yankees, he was named to the All-Star team each season. He led the team to 4 divisional titles, 3 American League pennants, and 2 World Championships. Who could forget Game 6 of the 1977 World Series when he smashed 3 home runs in consecutive at-bats en route to being named World Series MVP. He was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1993. Please welcome Mr. October, number 44, Reginald Martinez Jackson.
Now, as we mentioned earlier, we have some very special guests with us today, as this year marks the 60th anniversary of the New York Yankees' 1950 World Championship team. Today, we're happy to have with us 7 members of that team. Unfortunately, Dr. Bobby Brown, Ralph Houck, and Fred Sanford were unable to make it here today, but were all key parts to the 1950 World Championship team. But before we welcome the players we have here today, we have to mention the player who had one of the best years of anyone on the team that year. He was the 1950 American League Most Valuable Player. That season, he batted .324 with 200 hits, 125 runs scored, and 66 runs batted in. Let's take a moment and have a hand for the Scooter, Bill Rizzuto.
Now let's welcome back a member of that 1950 team who's here with us here for the first time today. He first came up with the Yankees in the 1947 season, and he won 4 games and pitched 2 complete games. In 1950, he pitched strictly out of the bullpen for the Yankees. Let's welcome back Don Johnson.
This next first-time old-timer made his Major League debut in September of the 1950 season and would get his first career hit on October 1st against Boston. Now remember, in those days, players didn't have as long a career as they do today. After retiring from baseball, he went on to have a very successful career as a lawyer. Let's have a hand for Hank Workman.
We now have another player from the 1950 team back for his first Old Timers Day. He was drafted by the Yankees in 1946, and he made his debut with the team in 1949, pitching 2 complete games. And in 1950, he had a 1.29 earned run average for the world champions. Say hello to Dwayne Paulette.
Next, we welcome back an old-timer who played catcher for the Bronx Bombers for 9 years, from 1948 to 1956. He played in the 1949 World Series, a series the Yankees won in 5 games over the Brooklyn Dodgers. In 1950, he was there to lend extra support behind the plate whenever it was needed. Please welcome back Charlie Silvera.
Our next honoree was the Yankees second baseman from 1949 to 1957, and he was a key member of 4 World Championship teams, including the 1950 team. In 1950, he had an all-star season and would go on to be named the 1950 World Series Most Valuable Player in the Yankees 4-game sweep. Now, believe it or not, his baseball career was interrupted twice so that he could serve as a Marine pilot during both World War II and the Korean War, making him the only major league player to see active combat in 2 wars. He is now in his 38th season as the radio voice of the San Diego Padres. He was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame as a 2005 recipient of the Ford C. Frick Award. Let's welcome back one of our own, Jerry Coleman.
Our next guest made his major league debut on July 1st, 1950. He would win 9 of his 10 decisions that year and would finish second in the Rookie of the Year voting. He won the clinching Game 4 of the 1950 World Series sweep, giving up 2 unearned runs over 8 2/3 innings. He would go on to lead the American League in wins 3 times and appear in 10 All-Star games. Not only is he one of the greatest pitchers of all time, but he's probably the greatest Yankees pitcher ever. He was the 1961 Cy Young Award winner. He had a lifetime record of 236 and 106, which gives him the highest winning percentage of any pitcher in the 20th century. He holds the World Series record for wins, consecutive scoreless innings, and strikeouts, as he helped the Yankees win 6 world titles in all. Even though his number 16 is retired, today he's wearing the number he wore in 1950, the number 19. He is the chairman of the board, Edward Charles Whitey Ford.
Picture me up there. You realize without us you're nothing. I know. You need infield.
No Old-Timers Day would be complete without our final member from the 1950 team. But unfortunately, he had a fall in his house last night and he couldn't make it here today. In 1950, he hit .322 with 28 home runs and was 3rd in the American League with 124 runs batted in. However, the stat he is most proud of is that while hitting those 28 home runs in the 597 at-bats he had that season, he only struck out 12 times. Even though he isn't here today, we know he's watching back home. Let's still have a warm round of applause so we can all wish him a speedy recovery. Number 8, Lawrence Peter Yogi Berra.
Get well, Yogi, soon, and come back. Now we have some very special guests I'd like to introduce. Well, they say behind every good man is a great woman. Well, here are a few women that were behind some of the greatest names in Yankees history. First up, her husband was the first African-American player in Yankees history when he made the team in 1955. He'd go on to win 2 Gold Glove awards, the 1963 American League MVP award, and be an important member of 4 World Championship teams. Representing Elston Howard, let's have a warm welcome for Mrs. Arlene Howard.
This next special guest husband came over to the Yankees in 1975 and would lead the American League in wins during that year and throw an outstanding 30 complete games. A 2-time All-Star in pinstripes, he helped lead them to 3 World Series and 2 World Championships. He was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1987. Representing Catfish Hunter, please welcome Mrs. Helen Hunter.
Our next guest husband played for the Yankees in the 1950s and helped lead them to 5 World Championships, hitting .333 in those World Series and winning the Babe Ruth Award in 1953 as the most valuable player in the World Series. Later, he would become the Yankees manager and lead them to 2 more World Series victories. In all, he was a part of 7 Yankees World Championship teams. Representing Billy Martin, let's have a warm welcome for Mrs. Jill Martin.
Next, her husband made an immediate impact on the team during his rookie year, as he was a 1970 American League Rookie of the Year. He would go on to be an 8-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove Award winner, 2-time World Champion, as well as the 1976 American League MVP. In April of 1976, he was named the 6th captain in Yankees franchise history. He was tragically taken from us 31 years ago next month. Representing Thurman Munson, Mrs. Diana Munson.
Our next wife's husband enjoyed a long 17-year playing career. He was a 5-time All-Star, a Gold Glove Award winner who appeared in 2 American League Championship Series and 1 World Series. In 1983, he hung up his cleats for the microphone and spent 15 years as a Yankees broadcaster. Representing her husband, Bobby Mercer, please welcome Kay Mercer.
Our final wife's husband never played a game for the Yankees, but he is as much a part of Yankee history as anyone here today. His first game as public address announcer was opening day of 1951, which would be Joe DiMaggio's final opening day game and the major league debut of Mickey Mantle. He would go on to work approximately 4,500 games as the voice of Yankee Stadium for 57 years, including an incredible 121 consecutive postseason games, including 62 games in 22 World Series. He passed away last Sunday at the age of 99. Representing her husband, the voice of Yankee Stadium, Bob Shepard. Let's have a warm Yankee Stadium welcome to Murray Shepard.
Let's have one more round of applause for the assemblage of Hall of Famers, World Champions, All-Stars, and most of all, New York Yankees. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise? Let us now spend a moment in silent prayer as we remember those members of both the Yankees family who've been lost since last Old Timers Day. Lonnie Fry, Tony Ferrara, Jim Rowland, Jack Phillips, Merlin Mantle, Connie Quattroni, Mark Zettelmeyer, Felix Martinez, Bill Doring, Catherine Quinn, Ron Klimkowski, Tommy Henrik, Tony Fantasia, Sandra Mascolino, Bill Bresnan, Art Rust Jr., John Cerruti, Lloyd Ferrantino, Dick Kraft, Taylor John, Marion Merrill, Joe Bogashevitz, Oscar Azokar, Stanley Kay, Harvey Winston, Bob Shepard, and George M. Steinbrenner III.
Thank you, and please remain standing. Robert Merrill was a mainstay at Old Timers Day when he would sing either our national anthem or America the Beautiful. Please direct your attention now to the Diamond Vision screen in right center field as the Yankees pay tribute to number 1.5 with his rendition of our national anthem.
Through the perilous fight, for the road
It's almost time to play the 2010 Old Timers game. Today's Old Timers game.
You have just seen the introductions of the Old Timers, the 64th Old Timers Day here at Yankee Stadium. The Old Timers will be back in just a moment. They'll be playing a brief ball game. They try and recapture the past once again here at Yankee Stadium. There's Mr. October, Reggie Jackson, who authored many a special night across the street of Yankee Stadium. We'll be back with more from Yankee Stadium, the Old Timers Day celebration. And what a good one it is, as only the Yankees can do. We'll be back in just a moment.
Here at the Ford Model Year-End Sales Event,
Yankee Stadium, and we want to express our thanks to Ford for participating in today's Old Timers Day special. And right now we're going to go down to the Yankee dugout where Kim Jones is standing by with a very special guest. Kim.
I am indeed, Kenny. Thank you. And Mrs. Diana Munson joins me. And Mrs. Munson, over the past week, how have you reflected on what Mr. Steinbrenner meant to you, your family, the love he showed?
Well, I've said I've been so fortunate to have seen two sides of George. You know, he and Thurman were very volatile at times, although the mutual love and respect they had for each other was evident as Thurman would go up and put his feet on his desk and they would talk business. But I got to see the side of George that was gentle and loving, and he embraced my family after Thurman's accident.
Last night was a goosebump moment for many people, but in your case, it also reminded you of a very big, important moment, obviously, back in 1979, didn't it?
Well, it did. Our dear friend Bobby Mercer was the hero, and he gave a eulogy that morning at the funeral, and then he came back and was singularly the hero of that game. And to see yesterday where Nick Swisher did exactly the same thing, and strangely enough, the same score of the night that Thurman passed, was so amazing to me. It was definitely a goosebump moment.
And you and Nick Swisher earlier in this dugout shared a very big hug, and I'm sure you've reflected on a bit of that as well.
Well, I'm a Nick Swisher fan. I admire the way he plays the game. I admire his enthusiasm. Last year, he was one of the only players of today that came into the dugout and got autographs of the Old Timers, and I think he gets it. And I told him then, I said, you know what, I'm going to be a fan of yours. I'm going to watch you. And to see him be the hero was just put a smile on my face. It really did.
You and the ladies here at Old Timers Day, and we're always delighted to see you every year, have a great sorority. And this year, Mary Shepard joined you ladies sitting in the dugout, and that had to be a very nice moment as well.
Well, it was a wonderful moment because her husband obviously meant the world to all of us, as he did to all Yankee fans. He was just incredible. But I think probably knowing that we're all going to be together and that we all share a heartache, but we share a love and respect, and history of the New York Yankees is just amazing.
I get the feeling, Diana, you look forward to this day every year, don't you? Reacquainted and memories come back, and always a lot of smiles as well.
Well, it's interesting. I can't tell you when it changed in these 31 years, but something definitely changed, and now this is a highlight of my life, and I can't wait to get here and reacquaint myself. People come up and tell me Thurman Munson stories. Sometimes I don't want to hear them, but it's so nice, and I get to see my old friends, and we really are a Yankee family. As George Steinbrenner said, you'll always be part of our family.
Well, that's terrific, Diana. Very nice to see you again today. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Kenny, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you very much, Kim. As someone who was there the night that they paid tribute to Thurman Munson at the old Yankee Stadium, that was a night I will never forget. Right now, we're going to send it down to Jack Curry, who's standing by with the guests. Jack.
Thanks, Kenny, and I'm here with Roy White. And Roy, I know you've been to a lot of Old Timers days. This one, of course, has a different tone to it. Mr. Steinbrenner and Mr. Shepard both passing away in the last week. What have your thoughts been as you've been out here today?
Well, it's no doubt that this is different with the passing of two of the great Yankees in Yankee history. Bob Shepard, the voice of the Yankees, and George, one of the greatest owners of all time. So it's a special significance, and I'm happy that I'm able to participate on this one.
Everyone has been sharing stories about George Steinbrenner. Do you have one that leaps to mind for you that sticks out?
Well, I just told one a minute ago. I guess I could tell it again. But I was coaching for the Yankees in 1986 in spring training, and they had a late meeting. I was in the shower, and they had to come and get me to come into it. And as I came in there, they had just voted on who was going to be the pitcher that would stay with the Yankees between Tommy John and Phil Niekro. and the vote was tied 5-5. So George looks over at me as I come in and sit down and says, Roy, the vote is tied 5-5. Who do you want, Phil Niekro or Tommy John? So Phil Niekro had pitched for us the year before. Won 15 games, only lost 9 or 10, so I was a Phil Niekro man, so I said Phil Niekro. So the room got very quiet. Then all of a sudden George says, well, I haven't voted yet, and I take Tommy John, and my vote counts too. And that's how Tommy John became a Yankee.
So you were a left fielder who got to be a general manager for George for about 30 seconds.
Exactly.
We're about to start up here, Roy. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
That's a great story. Thank you, Roy.
Thank you very much, Jack and Roy White. And now we're about ready to get underway with the Old Timers Day game. It's very hot here at the stadium this afternoon. I know this game was originally scheduled for 3 innings. I don't know if it's going to go that far. They want to keep some of these old timers in as good a shape as they can, Michael.
I'll tell you what, Kenny, just standing there on the field, introducing the players, it's a scorcher. It really is. And John Sterling and I both drenched through our suits. So, I mean, they've got to keep a close eye on these players. It's very, very hot out there. It's going to be very hot for the Yankees and the Rays in the regular game. So you just keep a close eye on a lot of liquids.
Well, half a life ago, these guys would have been okay.
Yes, half a life ago.
Rick Cerrone will be doing the catching, and it looks like Goose Gossage is going to start things up for the Old Timers. It's going to be the Clippers against the Bombers. So it appears that the Bombers are the home team, so to speak, with Goose Gossage on the mound, a Hall of Famer, a fireballing right-hander back in the day, 70s and into the 80s, and one of the most feared competitors of his day when he came out of the Yankee bullpen.
Now, looking at, you mentioned Rick Cerrone, and a lot of people obviously heard that Yogi fell yesterday, and they're concerned. And this is a statement that was just released from his family. Yogi fell down last night near our house in Montclair and suffered some bruises. He is now recovering at home. He's extremely disappointed he is unable to participate in today's Old Timer ceremonies and see so many of his friends. He appreciates all the well wishes and hopes to be up and about very soon. So that's from Yogi's family.
Yogi, and we hope you're watching, and if you are, get well soon and get back here at the Yankee Stadium. We're all going to miss you.
And Homer Bush will lead off. Well, when we read the averages, I mean, Homer Bush hit about 350 as a Yankee.
I wasn't aware of that.
I wasn't either. And you know it, Kenny, just from being around. Every time they used him, something good happened. It was like an automatic stolen base.
An automatic stolen base and automatic run scored. Joe Torre back in the day would go to Homer late in ball games, tight ball games that the Yankees were playing in those days, and Homer would somehow find his way around the bases. Mickey Rivers. Not quite the quick that he used to be in center field.
And he got there, too.
Yeah, he got there. He got the glove on it. I remember a day when Mickey robbed a home run from me, and I always kind of remind him of it. Fortunately, in that game, I hit another one, so I only felt half as bad. Lee Mazzilli is just lined out to Brian Doyle at second base.
Lee looks like he can play.
Yeah, he does. Great shape.
Let's see if Homer Bush steals second.
Yeah, I'm thinking the very same thing. OG, Oscar Gamble with a swing and a miss. During the introductions, I don't know if it was you or John mentioned he had a stroke perfect for Yankee Stadium. Dead pull hitter, stood right up on top of the plate, looked for something he could pull, and he could hit that upper deck at the old stadium. Pulling the ball again. Maybe today Cecil Fielder would have gone for 2. Instead, he's going to settle for 1.
And it was funny, you mentioned how he used to crowd the plate, Kenny. He has the same stance. Doesn't matter how the years go by, you still have the same stance.
Well, it worked back then. Joe Pepitone, Brooklyn's own. The stances are very similar to what the players had back in the day. Just the shadows they created home plate are a little bigger.
Nice piece of hitting there by Joe. And they're going to send Homer Bush home, and just like we told you, he gets on base and he scores.
Some things never change.
So Pepitone with an RBI single. You know, Joe Pepitone was a solid pull hitter, a little slower with the bat now, but still the same results. Line drive over Bucky Dent. And the Clippers are on the board.
Now, if you're scoring at home, please stop and know that that's an unearned run because Mickey dropped the ball. He got an error on that play.
That was a long run.
It was a long run, but he got there.
All things are relative. Ron Bloomberg lines out to right field. Perfectly placed as Jesse Barfield. He must have adhered to the scouting report. So the Clippers have taken a 1-0 lead against Goose Gossage and the Bombers.
All right, so CC Sabathia obviously enjoying his second Old Timers Day as a Yankee, and he's there with Kimberly Jones. Kim?
He is, Michael. And CC, you were getting a kick out of that. I know since becoming a Yankee, one of the things you really appreciate is having some relationships with these older guys, right?
Yeah, you know, getting a chance to see Goose and Gator, you know, during spring training and hang out with them here is a pretty cool experience.
You're a newer Yankee, obviously, but what was last night like for you as you watched the tribute unfold and then obviously pitched?
Yeah, it was pretty special. You know, like last night I told you, you know, I was a little more emotional than I thought I was going to be. I, you know, dealt with some things off the field and come back and pitch, but, you know, to be able to, I mean, to have it be a part of our organization and, you know, it's such a sad moment and him being, you know, such a big part of baseball history and everything, it was pretty tough.
What have you come to appreciate, perhaps not so much from firsthand experience with Mr. Steinbrenner, but either talking to your veteran teammates who were around him, or, as I know, you appreciate the history of the game as well?
Just, you know, just the way, you know, he ran the organization. You know, it's a top-flight organization. You know, I haven't been a part of anything like this, and you know, it started with him. So, you know, I'm just excited to be a part of this great tradition.
A couple guys after the game, including your manager, said, with no PA announcer, it was almost weird. It was such a tribute to Mr. Shepard, but did that strike you during the game? It was so silent.
Well, for me, because I was pitching, I didn't really notice it. But I know a lot of guys kept saying, you know, they were just waiting for somebody to announce him to come up. But I thought that was a great way to honor him.
And finally, CC, for those of us outside, not in the dugout, the way last night ended, perfect. It was a game everyone said Mr. Steinbrenner would have loved. It had the late inning drama and obviously a Yankee win. Did you come to appreciate that after that game ended, the way it ended on that night?
Yeah, the way it ended and, you know, the way we battled back. You know, we got into some tough spots, you know, got out of some jams and, you know, Switch hit the big home run and then came up with the big hit. So, you know, that's what this team is all about.
Michael and Kenny, CC was admiring Gossage. Goose can still pitch, can he?
Cover first, though, just like me.
We did notice that, Michael, as we send it back to you.
Well, you know what? That's a long run over to first base, Kenny. And when you're a Hall of Famer, you don't have to make that run anymore.
Yeah, it's a lot longer for Goose Gossage now than it was in the day. He was busy striking people out.
You know what, Kenny? I've seen Goose Gossage pitch in fantasy games. And if anybody mouths off, you know, if they get a couple, because, you know, the pitcher's up there to throw the ball in there. Yeah. I saw him after somebody was razzing him on the other team. He reared back, was throwing about 85 miles an hour, blew 9 pitches past the next 3 guys. He could still pitch.
Well, the competitive juices started to flow, and we have a good competitor on the mound now and a good one coming to the plate. It's the quick Mickey Rivers coming up. He's going to face Mike Torres.
Shouldn't they have had Bucky Dent come up now?
But I'm sure he's going to show up somewhere along the line. But you're talking about the days of Mike with the Boston Red Sox.
Yes, recreate that moment.
And Mike was a former teammate of mine with Montreal and Baltimore. Quick, not wasting any time.
That was bat spin.
That's it, still there.
How about that?
Well, this could be 3. Look at Quinter. Here he goes.
He's amazing. It just took him a little longer to get the motor going.
Well, in the old days, he'd been at third. The quick.
That could have been an inside the park home run, but, you know, one of the Yankees out there actually helped out the right fielder.
There's a shot down the first base line. Well, quick getting the bat head out there. Yeah, that wasn't an old timer who came up this ball. Watch him turn it on.
That's great.
Oh, man.
is Roy White. And Kenny, you played against him. What an unsung hero of those 2 Yankee championship teams in 77, 78. Just a solid pro.
Yes.
Did everything right, played a good left field, never missed a game.
I think he set the record for sacrifice flies in one season. And I think it was like 17. And he knew he had a chance for the record. He hit a long fly ball with a runner on third and less than 2 outs. It was hoping it wouldn't go out of the ballpark.
Well, he does his job, pulls the ball to the right side, and Mickey Rivers moves to third and gets some water.
Yeah, a lot of these players in this game are contemporaries of mine. And I will say this, and I think I've told you this before, Michael. Players like Mickey Rivers, you got Chris Chambliss at the plate, Mike Torres on the mound, we have Bucky Dent, Chris Chambliss, I said, and Greg Nettles, Ron Guidry, Goose Gossage, all tremendous competitors. They were a team that you really had to deal with. Reggie Jackson.
You know, we mentioned this during the introductions. Chris Chambliss hit one of the most famous home runs in Yankee history in 1976. Right across the street, leading off the 9th inning, Game 5 of the American League Championship Series against the Royals. Mark Littell, and the Bronx went wild that night. Everybody spilled onto the field. He had to come back a couple hours later to touch home plate, which wasn't there. It had been stolen, but he had to touch the area, and that sent the Yankees to the World Series against the Cincinnati Reds. And here's how it looked on that October night in 76, Kenny.
This is how you called it. Mark Littell on the mound. He gives one right in the wheelhouse of Chris Chambliss. And there's a leaping Royal outfielder, and still the same swing, maybe a base hit. Chambliss, another solid Yankee player back in the 70s and the 80s. Originally came to the big leagues with the Cleveland Indians. Here's another look at the swing. Maybe not quite as quick, but then again, the pitchers aren't throwing as hard either. So everything's relative. Right on time with the swing.
Here's Cecil Fielder, first time back here.
Look out.
And Lee Mazzilli was going through what A-Rod went through last night in the 9th inning. But that was a broken bat.
Cecil's going to go for the stick him on the bat. You can see the swing and a miss, and solid line drive as far as the bat's concerned to third base. Although Lee Mazzilli didn't want anything to do with it.
Jesse Barfield helped him out with some stick him.
So Jesse had his I don't remember Cecil ever hitting with a watch on back in the day.
He always thought it was Cecil time.
Yeah.
Will pop up the second as Fielder is retired.
Ball doesn't carry quite the way it used to. He hit some of the longest home runs back in the day. Hit one out of Detroit at the Tiger Stadium over the roof.
I think he hit his 50th home run one year against the Yankees into the left field upper deck, and that's rarefied territory, or tough real estate to reach, and he did it, and that was his 50th home run. Derek Jeter has joined the Old Timers in the dugout. And Jorge Posada there as well. Talking to Nick Swisher before the Old Timer ceremonies, and he was here early. He said, you got to honor the past. He said, these guys paved the way for us. He said, I want to be here. I wanted to get here early. I wanted to talk to these people. He goes, you just should. He says, it's part of what you are.
And I'm sure Nick would hope that players in the future will come out and talk to him during future Old Timers days.
But you know Nick will find people to talk to.
Well,
he was so happy with last night and the way he came through.
He should be. I mean, that was big time clutch. First with the home run in the 8th and the game-winning hit in the 9th. It capped off what was a very special and somber evening here at Yankee Stadium.
And that's going to do it for the final out of the bottom of the first. Cecil Fielder is with Jack Curry down by the Yankee dugout. Jack?
Cecil, we know you have not been back to Old Timers Day. You come back, and now you pop out, and you're getting a lot of razzing. Derek Jeter leading the way here in the dugout.
Well, of course, it would be from him. I would get razzed, but, hey, I'm not really worried about it. I'm here to have fun, enjoy myself. I'm not trying to go deep, just trying to stay healthy for the rest of this game.
And you said you had not swung a bat in 10 years, huh?
It's been a long time. I mean, I give a lot of instruction, a lot of lessons, but I don't get in the batting cage at all. I mean, thrill is gone. Thrill is gone.
Well, we know you got to get back out there to first base. Thanks for the time. All right, Michael, send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Jack. And I think that's a great way to think about it. Just keep yourself healthy. Now, we talked about how I spoke with Nick Swisher. Let's hear a conversation now because Kim's with Nick. Kim?
Yes, Michael, I am last night's hero, and Diana Munson loves you. And she was talking about so happy you were the hero last night, and I'm guessing you are too. What a moment.
I tell you what, you know, I think there was so many things that those two men represented, Mr. Steinbrenner and Mr. Shepard. And, you know, to be able to just be up in that situation. Those guys were winners. That's all they knew. And last night was fitting to send them out on a win.
As you talk, we were just looking at the video from last night. Was it out of body? I mean, did you have to watch the highlight to really appreciate what you did and how it looked?
You know what? I still don't really think it set in, you know. I think, how we doing today? Good to see you. I think just in general, you know, for a game like that and for the way the ceremonies were before the game, it was kind of a, you know, you didn't really know what to expect. I mean, you know, it was a very emotional day, and it ended on a very high emotional note.
Ever a sweeter pie?
That was perfect. You know, I was just fortunate enough just to be up in this situation, and I thought it was going to be fitting that Jeet was going to end it. And then, but then again, you know, me and Mr. Steinbrenner, we had that Buckeye thing, you know, so send him off on a good note.
You did indeed. You have the Buckeye thing, of course, with Mrs. Munson as well. One thing she talked about last year, you got so many autographs. Did you take care of it last year, or did you get even more today?
No, I didn't get any more today. You know, I got 3 boxes last year, you know. I mean, that's 36 balls. I think that's plenty. But just in general, just to see everybody, you know, Mrs. Munson, Mrs. Hunter, Mrs. Mercer, you know, just to see everybody and say hello. It was nice.
We're going to get back to the booth in just a moment, but you and Mrs. Shepard, Mary Shepard, had a nice moment as well, didn't you?
You know, I had a chance to meet her for the first time and to tell her that, you know, all our thoughts and prayers are with her and her family and what that man meant to the New York Yankees, and, you know, just try to do our best to send them out both on a high note.
Last night was a great night. Today's quite a day already, isn't it, Nick?
You know, it's Old Timers Day. It's one of my favorite days of the year. Just to be able to be around here and to see these guys and to just rub shoulders with them. These guys are the reason the Yankees are what they are, and you know, they definitely deserve the respect for that.
We can tell you're enjoying it, Nick. Michael, his energy level just a little higher today, I think.
Which is tough to you know, crank up the volume on Nick, but you know what? I'll tell you one thing, Kenny, as you see Ron Guidry on the mound. Nick Swisher gets it. You know, he's not going to put on an air like he's too cool for school. He's like absolutely thrilled to be here and be part of this.
I think part of the reason is because his dad played in the big leagues. And so maybe the mystique of the big leagues and all that sort of thing got away from him. Oh, Mickey having a tough time at center today. But I think Nick Swisher, you're right. He gets it. He knows what being a big leaguer is all about. And a lot of it, I like Nick because he's having fun while he's playing ball, doing a serious job. You know, these guys are roughing up Ron Guidry. Don't they know who's on the mound? I mean, they got more hits off of him this inning than I probably had my whole career.
You know, whenever you talk about Ron Guidry, I mean, it's with reverence. He must have been very difficult on you.
Oh, my goodness. Michael, it was just, I knew I was coming to the ballpark. I was just hoping to hit the ball.
Well, there, the ball was hit by Homer Bush. He lines it into center for a base hit. Pat Kelly scores. And the Clippers now lead the Bombers 2-1. What was it? Was it the slider diving down and in?
It was everything. Threw very hard. Slider was just unhittable. And whenever he threw something out over the plate, I don't know what he was throwing. That was part of the problem. I couldn't deal with it. Now he's looking out in center field at Mickey Rivers. And yeah, Mickey's not quite as quick as he used to be. He used to be able to run those down.
Well, breaking ball there to Lee Mazzilli, a switch hitter who's batting from the left side against the left-hander.
Maybe I should have tried that.
Oh, Mickey gets another chance. He's having a busy, busy afternoon.
Mickey not playing quite as deep. Oh, these guys are having fun.
Last night they were on a boat trip, and so they had a chance to tell all their stories and hang out. And now back out here.
You know, the further away you get from your playing days, the better ball player you are. The home runs went further. The plays were greater in the field.
Oscar's not sporting that fro anymore. That was one of the more famous hairdos in all of baseball.
Yeah, that was a two-and fro.
That one's popped up to Guidry, and he battles the sun to make the play. They used to talk about Guidry the way they talk about Mariano Rivera now, that he was the greatest center fielder that the Yankees had back then, just a great athlete, and he's still in great shape, Kenny.
Yeah, excellent fielder. He could really field his position. Here's Oscar Gamble. You know, there was a night in Baltimore where Ron Guidry was on the mound, and he threw me something, and I swung and missed, and the bat left my hands, and it actually went out and hit him on the mound.
Really?
And there were some people who thought that I might have done it on purpose because I couldn't hit him. But the truth of the matter is, I was the first one out to the mound to check on him because it was a strike 3. I was out, and I went out to check him and told him I was sorry. I didn't mean to do it, and he kind of understood I did. So it
really hit him flush?
I think it hit him in the shins or wherever, but I just yelled as the bat was going towards him, and he wasn't looking because I think the catcher throwing the ball around, the bat hit him. Wow.
Now here's Guidry shading his eyes. A lot of players today don't know how to do that. he battled the sun and then put it away for the out. Not too bad.
So, when I went out to the mound to check on him, I'm standing on the mound with about 6 Yankees, and I knew I was in the wrong place.
Let's hear from another present-day Yankee, and he's going to be at Old Timers Day one year. Not too soon, though. Kimberly Jones with Jorge Posada.
I am, Michael, and we call him Jorge Posada. His teammates Quesado because of Mr. Bob Shepard. Tell us that story, Jorge.
95 playoffs against Seattle. Obviously, I haven't played, and they put me in the roster because he wanted to carry 3 catchers. Back then I could run a little better. And Wade Boggs had a bad hamstring, and sure enough, he walks like in the 7th or 8th inning. And I come in to pinch hit. I'm running from the bullpen, and I said, running for Boggs, Posado. And it was Sado after that. And then next day he came over and said, you like to be called George? I said, no, Jorge. And he said, Posado? He starts laughing, knowing that he made a mistake.
Did you think about that story and many others last night during the tribute?
I sure did. I mean, talking about 2 great men, obviously, and, I got emotional. As soon as Mariano gets out there and, he's handing out the roses to the plate, I really got emotional. I had to hold the tears, and but he was all special, like they were.
One of the things you said after the game that struck me was he taught me to win, meaning Mr. Steinbrenner. And you met him as a very young man, and obviously he made an impression, and maybe that's why you and the Core 4 and the Yankees, it is why the Yankees are where they are today.
As soon as you get to the minor leagues, there's a lot of rules, and rules to make you a better player. Dress as a Yankee. Never wear T-shirts, always polo shirts, never chain, no, you got to shave. And those things mean something. It teaches you to be how a gentleman, dress yourself, dress as a Yankee, play as a Yankee, and it taught us a lot about winning.
There are a lot of smiles in the dugout today, and I think Mr. Steinbrenner would appreciate that as well. I think Jeter and Cecil Fielder are still having a conversation you want to be a part of, so we'll let you get back.
No problem. Cecil is a funny dude, so I like to hang out with him, and he was big in '96. He was big for us in '96, '97, so it was special to see him around again.
Jorge, thank you so much. Michael, back to you.
Thank you, Kim, and thank you to Jorge as well. It is kind of hard to believe as Rick Cerrone grounds one to third. Ball bobbled. The throw across the diamond pulls Mazzilli off the bag. And the third baseman was David Cone.
It's a little longer than 60 feet 6 inches from third base to first base. Not quite the control we've seen in the past. David knocks it down, recovers, still had plenty of time. And the throw is wide to Lee Mazzilli, and Rick Cerrone's going to be safe.
Well, he had actually made a nice play on Charlie Hayes while Kim was talking to Posada, and actually made a long throw from deep at third, almost at the outfield grass. So maybe he only had one throw in his arm. Gene Michael managing one of the teams, might be managing both of them. That's Al Downing on the mound. Bucky Dent gets robbed of a base hit. And Rick Cerrone pulls a Reggie. Reggie did that in the World Series against the Dodgers, and the throw hit Cerrone.
It seems like over the years the rules have changed. Quick thinking by Rick Cerrone. Good play by Homer Bush. Snap throw the first, and Rick Cerrone says, "No, you're not going to get me. You're not going to double me up."
Al Downing, what's going on? I think this is the final half inning. I think they're only going to play 2 innings of the Old Timers Day because of the heat. 2 outs and a 1-1 count.
I think the bravest man on the field is our cameraman right behind the mound there. That shot that you just saw, that's Tad Davis. Be careful, Tad.
A lot of guys in the truck are rooting for Tad to get smoked right now. There was nobody covering third, so Al Downing backing up.
There's a Tad shot as he gets Al Downing heading back to the mat.
This is a huge at bat in this game. This is the Bombers' last chance with Mickey Rivers up. Rivers against Al Downing.
Ooh, the quick going for the seats.
Yankees are the last team that has an Old Timers Day. For a while there, every team had it. But the Yankees keep the tradition alive. And that one is driven deep to right field. No one's going to get that. That ball is up against the wall. That might score 2. Cerrone scores to tie the game. And there is a Brian Doyle to give the Bombers a 3-2 lead. Mickey Rivers crushed it. And Homer Bush offers congratulations. That was some shot.
It was. The quick to the warning track.
And that was the game winning, a walk-off Old Timers hit. And he gets a hug from Pat Kelly.
Somebody order up a pie.
Yeah, he's got to get hit with a pie, right? Where's A.J. Burnett? That was some blast by Mick the Quick. Aaron Small gives him congratulations as the Bombers beat the Clippers 3-2. So this place, Kenny, since it opened last year, has become the king of the walk-off, and now even on Old Timers Day.
Yeah.
Although it's somewhat tainted by Cerrone's move to get in front of the Homer Bush throw. That would have been the end of the game, but there's no replay in Old Timers Day.
Well, these guys are used to some exciting endings back in their day, and Mickey Rivers is certainly part of it. Back when he was with the Yankees, providing speed and defense out of the leadoff spot, and some clutch hits as well.
Well, Jack Curry is now, I think, going to have one of the more interesting interviews of his life. He's got Mickey Rivers there. Jack?
Mickey, a walk-off hit at Yankee Stadium on Old Timers Day. How does it feel?
Well, you know, it feels good, you know. Playing against some of my best guys, my closest friends, make me win a game against them. I feel real good.
How did that feel to almost hit the ball out of here? I mean, that ball off the bat, we were wondering if you might get it out of here at Yankee Stadium.
Well, I know I didn't get it out of it, but I want to make sure it got in the gap to score at least 1 run. You know, but like I say again, you know, I feel good, real good about it. He threw the pitch right there for me to hit. You know, I just didn't want to miss it again like I missed the other one.
How about this day as a whole to come back today? A somber day, obviously, because of Mr. Steinbrenner and Mr. Shepard. How did you approach today, and how did everything feel for you?
I thought it'd be a great day for us to show that blessing to a man that really helped me and most of these guys in our career. And plus, you know, like you said, number of perfection. He wanted to win. He wanted to put the best on the field at the time. So I say it was a God-blessing thing. And so like I say, apologies to the family, you know. I got plenty of help from the man. He showed me how to stand up and be strong, and showed me how to destroy in life in general.
Mickey, we thank you for the time. Thanks very much. Michael, I'm going to send it back to you.
All right, thank you, Jack, and thank you to Mickey as well. So an emotional Mickey Rivers there, and his relationship with George Steinbrenner, well documented, and there was certainly an affection between the two of them. We got so much more to come. We got people to talk to. We'll have more reaction to the passing of Mr. Steinbrenner, as Kim and Jack are going to be talking to people on the field. So stay right here. A walk-off win here at Old Timers Day. Mickey Rivers with the walk-off double. Stay right where you are.
Now lease a new 2010 Ford Fusion for just $189 a month for 24 months. Just $189 a month.
Get to your Tri-State Ford dealer.
First time that I saw a sporting event on Fios in high definition.
You see detail that you didn't even know was there.
I'm standing like a little kid saying, wow.
As if Verizon Fios wasn't amazing enough, we've added something new. A worry-free guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied, you have the freedom to cancel. There's no term contract required.
The Fios installation was wonderful. I actually sent a note to the service guy. I was so pleased.
Time to switch to Fios. Call 1-888-GET-FIOS.
You couldn't make me give up Fios.
He's not from these parts. A little more, there's no room. Where's he going? Well, I'm not gonna wait to eat. We tried.
Summer's here, and McDonald's is on the way. Grab a creamy frappe, ice blended with caramel or chocolate and a hint of coffee, as small as just $2.29.
Get all the Yankees' top stories, highlights, and exclusives as Nancy Newman hosts Yankees Magazine presented by GE Capital. New episodes every week, only on Yes. Tonight, after the Yankees and Rays battle in the Bronx, make sure you check out Yankees Extra Innings. And don't forget, you can be a part of the show.
Send your questions or Yankees-related tweets to @YesNetwork.
Or send your emails to extrainnings@yesnetwork.com. Yankees Extra Innings, tonight after the game.
Only on Yes.
There are over 358 million trillion gallons of water on Earth. But not all water is created equal. Only 1/1000th of 1% is filtered naturally beneath the Earth, with a distinct balance of minerals, and emerges crisp and refreshing enough to be called Poland Spring. Poland Spring 100% natural spring water, born better.
And Posada downswing.
Yeah. Georgie, it's for you.
Hello? Didn't I tell you to stop chasing that high stuff? Dad? And open up your stands. They're jamming you inside.
You gotta love DirecTV. Georgie's dad never misses a pitch, all the way from Florida. And he gets the most games in HD.
Follow your favorite team no matter where you live with MLB Extra Innings on DirecTV.
Hello? Dad?
Today's Old Timers Day special on Yes is presented by Ford. Check out the best-selling vehicles with the best values in America. Drive one at your Tri-State Ford dealer today. Special day here at Yankee Stadium, the 64th Yankees Old Timers Day. It started on July 4th back in 1939, and that was actually Lou Gehrig Day and the famous speech, "The Luckiest Man on the Face of the Earth." So it really is a staple of the Yankees and part of their legacy as well. So many people here to talk to. Earlier, Jack Curry caught up with several Yankees who gave their thoughts on George Steinbrenner and Bob Shepard.
Bucky, obviously a different feel to this Old Timers Day. You're wearing a couple patches on your uniform for Mr. Steinbrenner and Mr. Shepard. What were your feelings about those two men as you came here today?
Just great people. I mean, great legends of this great organization, and it's really different. I mean, you want to be happy about getting to be able to see some of the old guys, but then again, it's a sad day because the voice of Bob Shepard's not here, and of course the boss, Mr. Steinbrenner's not here.
And what was it like to live through those years when you guys were winning and he was involved as much as he was? What was that like?
Well, it was fun because we were winning, but we didn't, we as players felt we didn't need all that chaos, but he as an owner felt that we could play better with chaos. So, I guess he was right.
Today, you're happy to be here. You want to go out, you want to have fun, see all of the friends, but deep down inside, you know that there's something missing. Two people who were so instrumental in, the Yankee tradition are not here. So they're going to be missed, no question about that. But, not having them here today is a letdown, because I think that they enjoyed today just as much as we did, it's constantly just going to be on your mind today that they're not here. I'm going to catch myself at some point in time looking up at the box, where Mr. G always stood, watch game. He won't be there. You look in the box where Mr. Shepard was. He won't be there. So I'm going to leave today, and it's not going to be the same. But I'm going to have fun, but it's going to be hollow. It's going to be empty. It's not going to mean the same.
Well, it's hard to even put into words, really. You can't talk about Yankee Stadium without talking about the two of those guys. George was responsible for keeping the Yankees and bringing back the Yankee greatness. I'm not so sure that had anyone else bought the Yankees, would have kept the Yankees the way George kept the Yankees. And you couldn't ask any more from an owner than what he accomplished.
My fondest memory is when he made me a Yankee. When I got traded over here, he called me, and I was putting a bag back in the car, and the phone rang, and I went inside, and this booming voice came on. I could hear a crowd, and he said, "Is it Bucky Dent?" And I go, "Yeah, this is George Steinbrenner of the Yankees." And I went, "Get out of here," And he says, "No, I have a deal that'll make you a Yankee if you'll sign your contract." And I'll never forget that phone call.
So some interesting comments from most of the people that Jack spoke to right there were from the 70s Yankees team, and that was really the heyday of George Steinbrenner's ownership, where he was obviously actively involved and had interaction with the players quite a bit. And you know what? They were champions as well.
But yeah, that was the day when they were starting to build the Yankees back into greatness, and George, of course, was footing the bill for some very, very good players. Went out and signed the likes of Catfish Hunter and Reggie Jackson. Free agency was just coming into being in those days, and Mr. Steinbrenner realized what it was all about and really got the jump on the rest of the owners as far as free agency was concerned.
And what he's built here in the Bronx, this great ballpark, and a defending world championship team that right now has the best record in all of baseball, coming off a dramatic victory yesterday. And we spoke about this, Kenny. Yesterday was 5-4, and you were a part of another emotional game at Yankee Stadium when Bobby Mercer, honoring his friend Thurman Munson, they were just coming from the funeral. He also had a walk-off hit against your Orioles, and the score was 5-4.
5-4, that was across the street, 31 years ago, in 1979, and it was early August. And I can remember walking off the field that particular night as Bobby got a hit down the left field line off Tippy Martinez, pretty tough left-hander. And the winning run scored in the bottom of the ninth inning for the Yankees, and they didn't call it a walk-off in those days, but essentially that's what it was, because they had to walk from right field into the Oriole visiting clubhouse. And I was thinking all along, if the Yankees are going to win one game from us this year, this should be the game that they win. And I didn't feel as badly about losing that game, because it was a very special night at the old stadium. Thurman Munson was a big part of what the Yankees were in those days. It was good to see Diana Munson here today, honoring her husband, because he was a very tough competitor and really kind of exemplified what the Yankees were about in those days. A very gritty bunch of ball players who had very tough players to deal with on the field as a competitor.
Well, we're going to hear from Whitey Ford, the Hall of Famer, chairman of the board, in just a moment, so stay right here as we celebrate the 64th Yankees Old Timers Day here on the Yes Network. Stay where you are.
Here at the Ford Model Year-End Sales Event, everybody's got a story, even the sales reps. Take Kelly, for instance. Kelly likes to call herself an escapist, which is kind of funny because she never seems to leave the dealership. She's always here talking about great deals and sync technology and how the Escape can practically park itself. Look, Kelly loves her Escape and loves her job. I just wish she'd get out more.
Get to the Ford Model Year-End Sales Event and lease an Escape for just $239 a month for 24 months. Just $239 a month.
So many stories, so little time. You really should drive one.
Are you free to be one with nature, or one of thousands in the revolution? Here, you're free to discover and laugh and so much more. Plan your getaway at visitwilliamsburg.com.
Dunkin' Donuts has a sweet deal the whole gang will love. 6 fresh, delicious donuts for only $3.99. Try our tasty new dulce de leche and pina colada donuts today. Just another reason America runs on Dunkin'.
Are you free to feel the wind in your hair or put the wind back in your sail? Here, you're free to imagine and play and so much more. Plan your getaway at visitwilliamsburg.com.
Really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Can football announcer Andres Cantor make any sport exciting?
Ha sido una partida intensa hoy. Jadrowski está pensando. Veamos qué va a hacer. Moverá la reina, moverá el caballo. ¡Qué tensión! ¡Viene! ¡Gol!
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
What are you doing, man? What? Summer what?
Summer's here, and McDonald's is on the way. So grab a new Angus snack wrap in deluxe, mushroom and Swiss, or bacon and cheese, each just $1.99.
If it was simply about money, every bank loan would be a guarantee of success. At GE Capital, loaning money is the start of the relationship, not the end. I work with players every day. At GE Capital, we succeed only when they do.
Awesome! Yes!
We've got to get you out of the office more often.
My turn to drive.
60th anniversary of the Yankees' 1950 championship team. Members of that team were honored today. Whitey Ford, the final member of that team introduced, got a nice ovation from the big crowd here at the stadium. So as the Old Timers Day ceremony's winding down and we're preparing for the Yankees against the Rays at 4 o'clock, let's send it back down to the field, and our very own Jack Curry is there. Jack?
Thanks a lot, Michael. And you mentioned that 50 team and Whitey Ford. He was a rookie back then. I had the chance to talk to him, and he started out by offering his reflections on the man known as the boss.
Well, you know, I've known George since he first bought the club. I got really friendly. He and I went to Cuba one time. He asked me to go to Cuba with him. We went down there, and he wanted to get some of the ball players down there. Castro went crazy when he found that out. But Castro liked me, but he didn't like George. And until recently, I used to still tease George about when are we going back to Cuba. But he's a wonderful guy. I wish I could have had him as whatever, you know, own the club when I was playing. But just knowing him for the last many years, he's been a real pleasure. And the other one is
Mr. Shepard.
Oh yeah, Bob. We've known him so long. He's from Long Island. I couldn't believe I couldn't go to his funeral the other day, and I found out I don't think any of the ball players or anybody even showed up for it. And I felt bad about that, but I liked him as a person, and that voice of his was just wonderful.
Now, going to Cuba with Mr. Steinbrenner, can you enlighten us on what that was like? That you must have had a lifetime of stories from that trip.
Well, he gave me 2 hours notice. He said, "Can you be at LaGuardia Airport in 2 hours?" I didn't know what he wanted. I got there, and he had a plane rented. He and I and the pilot, and we flew nonstop from LaGuardia to Cuba. And then I said, "George, what are we coming here for?" He says, "Don't worry, I'll let you know." But he was just trying to get some of the players. He didn't have much luck.
Now, we got word a little while ago that your battery mate, Yogi Berra, had a fall last night, and he's a little banged up and a little bruised up. Will it also be a little odd for you not to have him by your side today?
Oh, yeah, but maybe if Yogi got hit in the right spot on the nose, it might look a little better. But, Yogi, if you're listening, I miss you. And don't miss any more old-timer games.
I'm sure he is listening. And as you go out there today, what is this still like for you to be able to put on this uniform, and you have the replica uniform on from 60 years ago? How does that make you feel?
Very hot. I can't believe we wore these things years in 1950 when I came here. We wore these, but now it's after the nice lightweight uniforms to put this on. It's next year I'm getting a new one or I'm not coming.
Well, I'm glad we did this interview in the shade. Thanks a lot for your time, Whitey.
Thank you.
I'm glad we did that interview in the shade too, Michael. And real quick on the teasing nature between Yogi Berra and Whitey Ford. Yogi Berra once had a foul tip that broke his nose, and he said it was a good thing because it cleared up his sinuses. So again, from Whitey Ford and from us, we send out the best to Yogi Berra. Back to you guys.
Well, thank you, Jack. Absolutely, Yogi Berra has to be here. So recover quickly, Yogi. I know you're watching at home, and our thoughts are with you. And you better get well very, very soon, and maybe be back next week. We're going to have some final thoughts on a really great day here at Yankee Stadium. Yankees Old Timers Day, what a rich history on display at least once a year. The great legacy of the Yankees, a thread through the fabric of baseball. Stay right here.
Now lease a new 2010 Ford Fusion for just $189 a month for 24 months. Just $189 a month.
Get to your Tri-State Ford dealer. First time that I saw a sporting event on Fios in high definition.
You see detail that you didn't even know was there.
I'm standing like a little kid saying, wow.
As if Verizon Fios wasn't amazing enough, we've added something new. A worry-free guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied, you have the freedom to cancel. There's no term contract required.
The Fios installation was wonderful. I actually sent a note to the service guy. I was so pleased.
Time to switch to Fios. Call 1-888-GET-FIOS.
You couldn't make me give up Fios.
If it was simply about money, every bank loan would be a guarantee of success. At GE Capital, loaning money is the start of the relationship, not the end. I work with players every day. At GE Capital, we succeed only when they do.
Woo! Awesome! Yes!
We've got to get you out of the office more often.
My turn to drive.
Well, you take a look at those flags, and it shows you the somber nature of this whole weekend here at Yankee Stadium as two Yankee icons, Bob Shepard and the owner of the Yankees, George M. Steinbrenner III, have passed away, and the flags are flying at half-staff. It had that sort of feel, although there was still that joie de vivre between the players as they get a chance to see each other one time a year. And Kimberly Jones, you were part of all of it. You had a chance to sit in the dugout, talk to the guys. What are some of your impressions on this day?
Well, Michael, my first one would be there were still smiles and laughs, and you have to think that is how certainly Mr. Steinbrenner and also Mr. Shepard would have wanted it. And Diana Munson, so eloquent. And it last night reminded her so much of the day in 1979, that August night when they returned after the death of her husband. And that gives you goosebumps when you hear Diana Munson say that. And then the current guys and Nick Swisher, last night's hero and so happy to have been it. And CeCe Sabathia, who has come to appreciate Yankee history in his short time here with the Yankees. And of course, Jorge Posada, who last night and again today said George Steinbrenner taught him how to win as a young man. And that is something you hear, Michael, as you know, from the core four, the guys so close to Mr. Steinbrenner and who have such vivid memories. And we didn't have him on camera today, but Mariano Rivera saying his legs were shaking as he walked to home plate last night to deliver those roses. And I said, is it ever like that when you're on the mound? He said, oh, no, no, no. Last night was so much different. Those are different emotions. He said, I'm never like that on the mound. And he said, as I walked to home plate, so many memories were in my mind. They just kept coming and coming and coming. And those are the things I'll remember about today, certainly last night as well.
Well, thank you, Kimberly. We'll talk to you a little bit later on. Now, obviously, one person that had not had much to say about the passing of George Steinbrenner and Bob Shepard, because he was so moved and so close with both of those men, is Yankee Hall of Famer Reggie Jackson. Earlier, a somber Reggie spoke about the boss.
I think he's meant so much to so many people in a very similar way. Certainly his drive and his character, personality is permeated the organization and permeated the city. Certainly, I think the game of baseball as well. When you do think of him and when you do think of the Yankees, certainly his personality, demand for excellence comes through. I think that in the last few years that, you know, our executive staff and our whole organization has tried to take on the drive and the desire for success that George has instilled in the Pinstripes.
You know, I think that what Reggie says certainly makes a lot of sense because, you know, our parents aren't here. A lot of our parents aren't here. And, you know, your parents are with you for your whole life because they instill the values and the core values of how you live your life. And I think that when you walk around Yankee Stadium and the way work is done, and I thought that I spoke with Brian Cashman at length yesterday and Buck Showalter earlier, and they over-prepared because they never wanted to not have an answer when George Steinbrenner asked them the question. So there was over-due diligence on every single matter, and because those people grew up under George Steinbrenner, so to speak, I think it's that same work ethic that permeates this organization.
Yeah, his impact is going to be everlasting on the Yankees organization. When you think of owners throughout sports and the success that their franchises have had over the years, you got to think of George Steinbrenner and what he's done for the New York Yankees.
And I think that on this day, and, you know, we said this obviously during the introductions as well, this was a day that he enjoyed because this was a day that celebrated the incredible legacy of the New York Yankees. 27 championships, all the winning, all the Hall of Famers, and he got a chance to watch his team celebrate what this team was all about. Now, Jack Curry here with the Yes Network obviously covered this team while he's with the New York Times as well, and to be part of Old Timers Day, Jack, had to be pretty special for you just in that dugout talking to the people that you spoke to.
There's no doubt about it, Michael. And one of the things that stood out for me is how the former Yankees, some of them legends in their own right, how they turn into fans. I was in the dugout when Derek Jeter came out of the clubhouse to offer his support, and that was still an event. Lucky Dent wanted to get some autographed balls from him. Roy White quickly interjected and wanted to talk to Derek Jeter. So it's nice to see the players come back and have respect for the current players. But I know you and Kenny touched upon it. I think it says something about the current players who came out and watched this game. The CC Sabathias, the Posadas, the Jeters, the Swishers. I think it's important that they show respect for the history of the team too.
Well, thanks a lot, Jack. Thank you for your work today. And you're right, there is so much history here, and I think that when you put on the pinstripes, it's almost a responsibility to find out about that history. I remember when Don Mattingly was here, when he first got to the Yankees, he didn't know who Lou Gehrig was, but he quickly became a student of the history of the game. And I think that everybody that puts on this uniform, almost through osmosis, Kenny, finds out what this is about, what being a Yankee is about, and they carry that through their career, even if they go to other places.
That is very true, Michael. And you and I both grew up in the New York area, and I think that we've both seen a lot of Yankee baseball in our years. Me, a lot more than you have, because I'm older than you are. But the fact is that I can remember players like Whitey Ford and Mickey Mantle and Yogi and Elston Howards, and these are the players that actually made me want to be a baseball player. The Yankees had so much success back in the 50s. They seem to be in the World Series just about every single year, and that type of success is something that makes you want to emulate in the Little League and on the playgrounds throughout the New York area. And I just want to thank those guys personally for being so good in their days that they made it look easy. Once I turned pro and made it to the major leagues, I realized it wasn't as easy as they made it look.
Well, one thing that the Yankees are, and they really became more so since George Steinbrenner bought the team in 1973, they are the gold standard for all sports. Every single organization tries to emulate what this team has done, but it's hard to emulate the rich history. Even when George Steinbrenner bought the team, there were still championships in the hamper. There had been 20 before he even bought the team in 1973, but there have been 7 more since then. There is a tradition of excellence that is drilled into the heads of youngsters when they are voted or drafted into the New York Yankee organization. Jorge Posada spoke about it. You have to learn how to dress like a Yankee. You have to learn how to act like a Yankee. You have to learn how to shave and cut your hair and things like that. It's not an easy thing. Some players can handle it, some players can't. Those that were obviously put onto the field today, the old timers, they knew how to handle it. They knew what was going on. And today was a celebration of everything that makes the Yankees what they are, a symbol of excellence. Coming up later on the Yes Network, stay tuned for the Yankees extra innings after today's Yankees-Rays game. And a reminder, join us again tomorrow for Yankees baseball as the Bombers take on the Rays from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Coverage begins at 12:30 on the Yes Network. For Ken Singleton, Kimberly Jones, and Jack Curry, I'm Michael Kay saying see ya from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Have a good day, everybody. So long.